Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome everyone to episode 22 of the Daily Mother Swole. Welcome everyone. Today we are talking about how to grow a beard like a man. I'm just kidding. We're talking about how to eat on a budget, So Periscope, Busker, YouTube. I'm also on iTunes and SoundCloud. So welcome. I'm going to jump right in. Get your questions ready. Get your ideas rolling because I know everyone here has a budget no matter what it is, whether it's $50 a week, $20 a week, $500 a week. You're still going to the supermarket and making purchases, going to farmers markets and whatnot. So let's talk a little bit about what I do, and then we can branch off and get some actual input from Busker, from Periscope, from my live viewers. So eating on a budget. You all have jobs. No one's just sitting around their butts all day. So you have a certain income, you have certain money coming in, and you're going to allot a certain amount for food, whether or not you really keep track closely, which you should. That way you know you're not wasting money. But if you have no idea how much you're spending, first off, that's a good idea. It's a good idea to kind of quantify what you're putting towards food, and then what are your goals? What are your goals? Are you actually making the right decision? So before I even get into what foods to eat on a budget, when you go to the supermarket, and I've said this before in some of my other films, make sure that you know, or first off, know your goal. Then what I want you to do is I want you to think when you go to make a purchase in the supermarket, at the farmer's market, wherever you go, I want you to think, is this helping me? Is this helping me? What I'm purchasing, what I'm picking up, what I'm putting in my cart, is this helping me get closer towards my goal? Is this a positive? Is this a negative influence on my life, on my diet, on my nutrition, just on my health and my overall well-being? Because if that's your goal, ultimately, then everything that you purchase, every single thing that you do, just like if you want your business to be successful, you have to do the little things. If you want your fitness to be successful, that's why we're doing all these other tips. Your posture. Is your posture right? Are you foam rolling? Are you trying barefoot training? Are you, bulletproof coffee? That's an option. Are you motivated? How do you stay motivated? Are you training, working out your training splits properly? These are all different elements of the small game. These are all short game tools. These are all little bits of that pizza pie. I still haven't eaten today, so I'm going to use these food references are going to drive me insane because I'm hangry as fark right now. So these are all little pieces of the pie, making sure that when you're adding up all these pieces of the puzzle, of the pie, you're getting the whole thing and you're getting what you want. So think about what your goal is. Everything should be geared towards your goal. I think a lot of what we do when we go to the supermarket, again, food is a tool, not entertainment. We look for things that we want to eat. We look for things that we want to eat. And I know I'm not talking about the budget yet, but this is not about want. This is about what you need. And I've used this relationship before. If you need to hammer that nail in the wall, what are you doing? You're not going down the cosmetic aisle to get some fucking cotton balls. You're going to get a hammer. If you want to gain some muscle, what do you need to buy? If you need to recover better, what do you need to buy? If you need to sleep better, what do you need to buy? If you need to feel better, what do you need to buy? If you want to get lean, if you want to get abs, what do you need to buy? So let that sink in for a second and understand you're going to the supermarket to buy a tool for a job. Think of going to the supermarket as going to Lowe's, going to Home Depot, going to a hardware store. Whatever you do at the supermarket, think about going to the hardware store. If you need to fix your sink, you're going to go buy gaskets, you're going to buy pipes, you're going to buy, plumber's glue, whatever the heck you need to buy to fix the sink. When you go to the supermarket, you're going to fix a problem. You're going to get a result. So you're going to purchase certain things. And then once you know what you're going to purchase, once you know your list, what you need to get, and I think everyone should go back to shopping lists, what you need to get. Because first off, what you need to get is going to cut out a lot of the shit that you're going to waste money on. So there's your budget right there. Whatever you go to the supermarket with, I guarantee if you spend $100, I guarantee probably $50 or $60 of that was really stuff that you wanted, not that you needed. Not a lot of us are going to go to Home Depot and be like, oh, well, that's a nice piece of wood. I think I'll pick that up just because, I like wood. Some of you might. There's some freaks out there, but I'm down with that. So everyone's different. Not to say you can't enjoy things, but at the same time, you need to go and get what you need before you start figuring out how, what the process is going to be in terms of chopping things up for your budget. So conventional versus organic. This is going to be a big thing for budget reasons, just because organic is more expensive than conventional 99 times out of 100. One of the reasons for this is that it's popular. Understand that companies know already that that they spray their shit. They know that you know that. So organic is not always just the best decision automatically because the word organic is in there. The idea is nice. The idea of organic produce is nice, but anything that's mass produced or, created in large quantities is going to have effects with quality. It has to. I don't care if it's grass-fed beef. I don't care if it's organic kale. If you're putting organic kale in every single supermarket in the entire United States for 400 million people, how organic is, where are you getting this organic kale from? How much kale are they growing for you to have it fresh all the time? How is it fresh all the time? How is it always available? This world is huge, but come on. How much freaking, it's always on the shelf. And if it runs out, there's more on there. There's trucks coming in every week. How fast do things grow? Have you ever tried to grow a plant? That shit takes time. So just because it says organic doesn't mean they're not putting things on it. They're just things that the government deems to be organic. They're still spraying the things. They're just spraying it with different stuff. You think all of a sudden, do you think they just spray things for conventional products just because, we'll spray it, we'll call this conventional, we'll charge less for it. The organic stuff looks the same way. It looks the same way. They produce in the same quantity. What, bugs don't eat that because they're putting it in the organic section of their farm and they're growing it over here? Well, we're going to call this organic and the bugs will leave this alone naturally. No, they're still putting stuff on it. And if you trust the government, then it's what the government deems to be organic or what deems to be less problematic in terms of the public or whoever lobbied to get, conventional organic things, put into the public. So, I'm very skeptical. I'm very skeptical, especially when I do research, what I read, who's funding the studies. I just know it's from Periscope. Grow your own veggies. Yeah, if you can. And honestly, more of you can. I should do a whole show because they're outside. I got plants out there. I have plants. I have little things, and you might see when I'm out there and I'm filming and I'm doing some of my Swole motions. I'm doing some of my live Periscope Q&As that I have plants out there. You can grow things. You can grow lettuce. You can set up little tiers on pallets outside in your porch or in your living room. But that's motivation. That's motivation to eat things a certain way, to have certain spices, and you can do rosemary and basil. Those things, or oregano. Those things grow like weeds, literally. Okay, so these are just. These are just little options, and we can get into another whole other topic on that because that's actually really good. That's a good point. So that's why I like doing the live stuff because I get this information and I get these ideas. So conventional versus organic, to save money. Generally, you want to buy conventional just because it's cheaper. So they know that you're aware. They know that you're aware that these chemicals are bad. So they're going to jack the price up of organic. And I remember seeing some kind of stat that the organic industry is growing 20% every year, which is amazing because it's billions and billions of dollars to get organic products. So guess what? They're going to charge whatever you'll pay for it. Whole Foods, a little tiny thin tray of organic blueberries, $7.99. Get the fuck out of here. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. $7.99 for freaking blueberries. They look the same as regular blueberries, but they're organic and they're charging 4 or 5 times as much. Just the fact that they have them all year round, you can't convince me that those things are that much better than the conventional. First off, just because of the volume. When you're feeding large amounts of people, if you've ever tried, if you live on a farm, if you ever tried to has anyone ever tried, and I can't see exactly from here, but have you ever tried to grow strawberries? Have you ever tried to grow berries like in your pot? Those things are shriveled. They take forever to grow. And then you get like 1 or 2. It's not easy. It's not easy. And think about, they're all nicely packaged and they're stacked up like tons. The earth is big, but there's a lot of volume they're putting out there. It's a little bit sketchy. I'm just so skeptical of everything that I'm told. And the internet is great, but at the same time, now that you have the internet, it's like, you think, okay, more people have phones, more people have a voice. Yeah, but some people have a much larger voice and they still drown out the little people. They still drown out the truth. And people are so skeptical and they're so receptive to, what, they're told. They're so used to being, we all grew up. The generation now, like the children now, they're not growing up in the same way we did. Those of you that are my age, 25, 26, 30 and older, you grew up in the age where you listened to your parents, You went to school, you were told things, you listened to it because you didn't have anything else. You didn't have the internet to get information. You did as you were told, you accepted what people told you as, oh, that's the way it is, and you went through that way. So even when you realized, you came to the realization that, I can have my own voice, that's not always true, that's my teacher's opinion, you're still kind of programmed to like receive and be like, someone's being honest with me, someone's being honest with me. And then as old as we are now, we have all this information like, shit, well, people just, it's pretty much their opinions all the time. They just lie out their ass and we just accept it. And that's what the government does. That's what, the news does. It's just to sell. It's marketing. I'm not trying to get off topic, but it's the truth. So conventional and organic, if there's organic everywhere, all year round, think about it. I'm just saying, think about it. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying they're not being honest. I'm just saying I'm skeptical. Use your judgment, okay? Use your judgment. So Dirty Dozen, their website's out there. Look it up, Google, Gougelet, for those of you that are a little bit more high class like me. Dirty Dozen is a list that a couple companies put out every year or so, and it says, it tells you the ones that are the most sprayed. The fruits, vegetables, the produce that are the most toxic, so to speak, like they're the most sprayed, because it depends. It depends on like the bugs, it depends on the season, the weather. Sometimes certain foods are more sensitive or they get more sprayed than others because they need to be produced, and bugs are attacking certain ones more because it got hotter, so there's more bugs, like they're eating apples or they're eating peaches, who knows. But check that out because it'll tell you which ones are the most risky, in their opinion, for conventional versus organic. Always wash thoroughly. At the same time, even things that don't require, like that don't have like open skin, like fruit, so like strawberries, blueberries, those things generally, if you had to choose what to buy organic in terms of your budget, you can go towards berries. Just be careful with berries just because they're sprayed more often. They're hard to grow naturally without any kind of, things on top. So those, wash them thoroughly. But even if there's a covered fruit like a watermelon, they still might be sprayed, but the runoff from the soil could be uptaking some of these chemicals. So it's very sketchy, even with the Dirty Dozen, so be aware. In terms of organic produce, if you're on a budget, try local farmers markets. I'm trying not to get too much off onto like conventional and organic. I'm trying to stick to the budget thing, but I'm just telling you what you can look for and why you might want to use certain things for that little budget that you might have, not to go wasting money on certain items. So fruit and vegetables, berries like that, anytime you have a fruit or vegetable that might be a risk, try something local. Try these little supermarkets. Sometimes they have overstock from the big chains. Big chains, sometimes if they're not selling it quick enough, they will sell it at a great discount to some of these little local shops, and the local shops pass on the discount to you because they got it so cheap because let's say the supermarket buys 500 pounds of strawberries and they're not moving them. They put them on sale. The manager of the produce puts it on sale, and then they're saying, we can't get rid of them. So they might sell it locally to a little market who buys it on the cheap and then sells it to you on the cheap, and it's the same food, for the same quality you would buy at the supermarket. They were just cutting their losses because they bought more than they realized they could sell at the time. Let's say the temperature dropped and no one wants fruit anymore. They want like soup. So all of a sudden they're like, shit, we got all this fruit and we have a cold spell coming in, low front came in, we got to dump this stuff off. So some of these little shops can sell at a discount, and also these little farmers markets are local because there's no middleman. They don't sell to supermarkets. They might grow it locally. In Florida, the Redlands down south in Homestead, there's a lot of farms and things like that. So we get a lot of that stuff here, but all over the country, they have these farmers markets, which are getting more popular, and you can get things at a discount because there's no middleman. So if you can, sometimes they have them on a weekend. They'll have them on Saturdays and Sundays. Sometimes they have farmers markets where they have it every day. So these are all options for you in order to get your produce at a discount. And that's some of the stuff that's really important, the vegetables and the fruit that you might get, might be exposed to more spray and more toxins. Repackaging may be optional at your supermarket or at your farmer's market. Sometimes when they put fruit or they put items in a container and it's a pound and it might be $4.99 or $5.99, you might not need all that. You might pay that. You might pay $4.99 and then you get home, you use half of it and it goes bad. Sometimes you can return items to your supermarket. I'm not saying eat it all and then return the package, but some supermarkets will take back returns no matter what. So you can use part of it and then return. I'm not trying to be skeezy, but you can use what you need and then return the rest. You can do it that way. That's a little bit, shady for some people, but at the same time, you can also ask them sometimes at the supermarket if they have a certain amount. And I'm just using blueberries as an example, but you don't want a pound. Sometimes they are able to repackage it and give you half a pound, give you 8 ounces, give you 4 ounces. Sometimes all you have to do is ask, and some of them, the markets and the supermarkets actually advertise that we are happy to repackage any product for you, just ask us. And people are either not aware or they don't, I don't want to trouble them, or that's being really, that's being really picky, that's being really, snobby. Not really, you want to pay what it's worth. You're still going to pay what they want you to pay. You're just buying less of it. And they'll take that and they'll put it in another container, or they'll give it to one of their employees, So understand that you can sometimes ask for these different options. Like when they put in that little, let's say corn or asparagus, and they wrap it with plastic and they say, oh, this is $4.99 a pound. Here, this amount is $3.73. Well, what if you don't want a pound? What if it's just you and you want it for right now? You just want it for today for one meal. You can say, hey, I only want half a pound of this, and they'll give you half a pound for $1.68 or something like that. So you're saving money. You're buying less than what you need. If you're going to use all of it, then buy all of it, but you can save money by only getting what you need. You don't have to overbuy and then things go bad. Because sometimes with produce, if it's good produce and if you're eating it, you want to eat it fresh. So you're not keeping it for a while. You want to eat it now, and sometimes things happen and you don't get a chance to eat it, and then it goes bad, and then you're literally wasting money. Especially on a budget, you're buying things and it's rotting. You're just not using it. So some cheaper foods to eat that are healthy. A couple key ones. Eggs. You can usually get organic eggs. It's cheaper in terms of the volume than things like organic or grass-fed beef. Organic chicken can be expensive, and things like fish. Getting quality fish, I would not even bother. Honestly, people always talk about fish oil. People always talk about buying fish. Fish is crap in this country. It is so hard to find good fish. If you're a fisherman and you go out there and you get fresh fish, you have a boat and you go out fishing, lucky you. You're going to get something quality probably, hopefully. But if you're going to the supermarket, you're getting farmed salmon. Those salmon are fed grain. They're kept in like a 1 square foot cage their entire life, and they have no omega-3s. They have no fish oil. They have no fatty acids. It's not healthy. It's colored. It'll say even on the label, farmed fresh, which is the biggest oxymoron in the fucking world, and color added. Color added. Color added. I know you can all hear me. I'm going to say it again. Color added. They add color to your fucking salmon. They make it orange. Okay? They add color to oranges. They add orange color to oranges. People on the podcast are going to be like, I have ears blown out in their speakers. They add color to oranges. Holy crap. Well, they spray paint them for the most part. They color it. It says color added on the freaking thing. I'm not saying they use spray paint, but they make it a better color because they're oftentimes genetically modified. They're mass produced. And the soil is such trash because they beat the crap out of it, growing so much stuff. They don't cycle it properly because they're trying to create volume. This is what I'm talking about, organic and conventional. It's hard to keep that volume. It's hard to keep that pace, that scale. So I always go to sardines. You can get some quality sardines, sustainably farmed. You can get sardines are much better of an option for omega-3s anyway. Sardines are some of the best things you eat, sardines and anchovies. They're more sustainably harvested. They're not exposed to the same kind of crap and horrific treatments like salmon. They still maintain their healthy fatty acids. So you might be like, ooh, sardines, great source of calcium, especially if you get the ones with the skin and the bones. Look it up online. Don't take my word for it. Sardines are fantastic. And there's some brands that don't have any BPA in the can lining. They're quick. They're easy. Yeah, they're sardines. A lot of people are like, oh, sardines. Food's a tool. It's good. Put them on some crackers if you like. I know. I love them. I love sardines. I think they're fantastic. You don't have to eat them, but you could put them in a salad. You could do different things with them. You could look up those, types of, things on the menu or different ways to make or prepare sardines yourself. But check it out. I'll show you actually my can. But my supermarket Publix has sustainably harvested, and it's like 2 something for a can, and it's like 26 grams of protein, 2 or 3 grams of omega-3s, and they're good sources of it. Okay, so check out sardines and anchovies. I recommend it. Doesn't have to be something you eat every day, 6 meals a day, but it's an option, okay? And it's less expensive for the nutrient density. Quinoa is a good complete protein, especially if you're someone that is a vegetarian, is a vegan, and organic or quality quinoa is very accessible. So quinoa is a decent option. My recommendation would be to try it. Try it and see if you like it. Try it and see if you like it. Quinoa is a different feel, and you have to kind of learn how to cook it to make it, just right. But I would definitely try quinoa. I like quinoa. I don't eat it regularly because I'm a little bit lazy. I just like things to be, readily available. I don't want to go and cook that stuff. I just have different interests now, but I recommend you try quinoa. It's a good nutrient-dense food. Sweet potatoes are like 60, 70 cents, maybe $1 a pound. And sweet potatoes are one of the best carbs you can eat. I love sweet potatoes. Absolutely love it. And things like organic kale is really not that expensive. Get a huge bag of kale for $4 or $5. And for one person, I mean, it depends on how much kale you eat, of course, but that'll last you, a few days. Rice is a good one. I just saw that. Rice is great, brown or white rice. I mean, it's a good carbohydrate. Brown rice depends on how you digest or how you like rice. I'm not a big rice fan, especially brown rice. If I eat rice, I'm going to eat white rice just because I just like the taste. I feel like brown rice doesn't really settle well or sit well in my stomach. But if you are a rice fan, super cheap, right? Super cheap. And that doesn't get sprayed with tons of chemicals, but make sure you get a quality, long grain rice. There's different kinds and, you have to find what's right for you, but rice is definitely a good option. So places, small vendors, overstock. Some of these little stores are built on overstocking what's in a supermarket. Farmers markets are great. Cut out the middleman. You could also, here's another way to eat on a budget, co-ops. You can chime in if you ever do a co-op. You can actually buy memberships to local co-ops. What they do is they order or they get tons and tons and tons of organic produce. Whatever's in season, farmed fresh locally or delivered locally. And what the co-op does, you might pay, let's say, a monthly or a yearly membership or quarterly membership of, let's say, $30 a year, and you have access to like a whole share or a half share. And they actually either deliver or you go to a site and you pick up a box of, let's say, radishes and fruit and this kind of X, Y, and Z, depending on what's in season. Because a lot of times eating something in season is healthier because it's not frozen, it's not mass produced, it's not shipped from overseas, it's not picked before it's ripe and then shipped, 10,000, or 3,000 miles across the country. A lot of foods, because you can't get fruit that's rotten at the supermarket. So oftentimes they don't pick it when it's ripe because then by the time it gets to you, it's old. So what they do is they pick it early and they ripen it with ethanol gas, or they ripen it, or they let it ripen naturally, but by the time it gets to you. So they pick it early and then it doesn't have the flavor, because fruit, if you ever picked fruit fresh from a tree, for example, I'm using fruit, it tastes so much better when it's tree ripened rather than when they ship it early. It just loses, it doesn't have the same chemical reactions in terms of like the glucose and the fructose. It just doesn't taste as sweet as when you get fruit from the tree. Like down here, mangoes grow on trees. You'll drive down the street and you see mangoes. You go to the supermarket, you get the worst mangoes. They taste, there's no flavor. You pick one off the tree and it's like you can eat the skin. It's thin. It's just delicious, and it'll turn your eyes over in the back of your head because when they're ripe, you touch the fruit on the tree and it just pops off. So they own tree ripened fruit. So try to either get something local, try a co-op, you can get a membership, and that can help you on a budget. You can get all your veggies fresh, and it could be something like maybe $20 a month or $30 a month, okay? And you could even get a whole share and split it with a friend. So you can get a membership and then pick up a whole share and look it up. It's a co-op, C-O-O-P, co-op, cooperative operation. So you can actually get a share, and it's called a half share or full share. And a lot of times they deliver it every week. So you can see how much it is. You can get some more information, but you can get a membership, and that provides the funding for the website and for shipping and for getting it for the whole group. And then you go and you pick up your share at a location, or sometimes they deliver to you. That's a great way to eat on a budget. So select quality protein foods. Like I said, eggs and sardines, quinoa, sweet potatoes, organic kale. Those are some basics. Other things like toppings. If you like your seasonings, try to get things with less ingredients in them. Grow your own rosemary, get your own basil, grow your own oregano. Super easy. Some of these plants, like a basil plant, I see people go and they buy basil in like this little plastic container, and it's like $3, $4. You can get a basil plant for like $2. You buy it, and that thing grows. You cannot eat as much basil as that grows, especially down in this climate. So try growing your own spices. You can make your own salad dressings, olive oil. You chop up some rosemary, basil, put a little garlic in there, and you can make your own amazing salad dressings just naturally. Okay, so let's take a couple of questions on Periscope. And I've never held the phone before, but yeah, how my nose hairs? Am I good? So what are some of the things that you guys are eating? Let's take some Q&A. Let's get some actual inside information. So don't be quiet now. I'm beautiful. I don't know if we're gonna get some Q&A. This could be a whole different flow. Maybe I'm rocking the boat with this whole Periscope in the hand thing. So what are some things? Thoughts on stevia? Good question. Okay, so this is maybe getting off topic for on the budget, but stevia is actually a better option than it's from a natural plant. You can get natural stevia. You can actually grow a stevia plant. And since it's on a budget, we're talking on a budget, I would definitely recommend, getting these plants. I would definitely recommend getting something because that just perpetuates you're getting natural sweeteners and you're also just growing it naturally. You pay for it one time and then you just water it. So that's a good option too. What else we got here? What are we eating? I doubt I have any like multi-millionaires watching this. So is it co-op with meats too? It can be. That's a good question, Tommy. Co-ops are co-ops with meat too. Some of these co-ops offer meat, like they get it from like Amish farms in Pennsylvania. I've seen some things like that where you can put it in order in addition to your share. So it depends on the co-op. You can get co-ops for like raw products. Here's one of the things in Florida. I'm pretty sure it's the same way. It's the same law now. They used to sell raw milk at Whole Foods, but then they banned it or they stopped it. First off, it was really popular, but also because of the laws. Now, here's the thing. You're not allowed to buy raw milk. You're not allowed to sell raw milk. But, and this is just an example of how sketchy. This is just another example of how sketchy, the law is. You cannot buy raw milk, but if you own the cow, you can drink raw milk from your own animal. So what you do is the reason why you have these co-ops is when you pay monthly for a co-op, when you pay monthly for a co-op, you're actually buying a share. Okay? You're buying a share of the cow. So technically, you own part of the cow, which allows you to drink raw milk from that animal and allows you to purchase raw milk. So if you're an owner, you can actually drink from your own animal. It's not against the law. So when you do these co-op things, a lot of times that's what you're doing. You're purchasing part of the cow. You're purchasing into the ownership, and that gives you, a small percentage, but it doesn't matter. What's the rule on that? Oh, give me like, 0.5% of milk. Give me 0.5% of that. Yeah, these laws are bullshit, but those are the ways to get around it. That's why these co-ops are also popular. You can get raw cheese, you can get raw milk, you can get, all these different things that you can't see you can't get in regular supermarkets anymore because of the laws. And here's the thing with pasteurization. I know, it's again getting a little bit off top, but pasteurization kills bacteria, but it kills bad bacteria, but also kills good bacteria. So you're killing good and bad. So for like dirt cheap, it might be cheaper. You can't find it. You can't find it. So it's one of those things where you're not going to be able to get it in a supermarket. So, cheap is relative. So, if something that you want, yeah. If you found it somewhere in a store, it might be super expensive or it might be kind of, behind the scenes or, no, I didn't see it, Derek, send it again. Had these clowns, that's one of the things with Periscope and live, you get always people, you get the peanut gallery in the back. Get the peanut gallery in the back. See? Yeah, like this piece of shit right here. Gone. I don't block people, but I will when I'm doing my live show. Can you gain on this guy. Can you gain on a vegan diet or are you missing key nutrients? So, gaining on a vegan diet, sure. Sure, you can gain on any diet. How much you can gain, that's going to be that's going to be relative to the person. Can you gain muscle? Yeah, there are definitely famous bodybuilders and famous, fitness people in the industry that are, been vegan for 20 years, 30 years. You can definitely gain. You might need to eat more of certain foods to make up. So, for example, if you're getting things, elements, let's say like vitamin, certain vitamin B, like vitamin B12, you get from meat. But, in terms of a vegan diet, you're not getting that same amount, so you might have to take a supplement. Yeah, get a complete protein. If you get a complete protein, you're not going to die. That's what it means. If you don't get a complete protein, you're going to die. But your body will metabolize certain, and what that means is, you have certain amino acids that your body can create, non-essential ones, and there are ones that your body has to consume, which are the essential amino acids. So certain ones that your body has to get from diet, and all the other ones your body can like take the little pieces of what you eat and then repuzzle them and make the other amino acids. They're all necessary, but there are certain ones that your body needs to get because it can't make them itself. So vegan diet, yeah, you can definitely gain. I'm not saying you could be massive as if you were on, a meat diet, but, my monthly expenses for food is usually around probably $400 or $500. I've cut it down a lot, and that's tight. That's super tight for me. That's super tight because here's the thing. I'll go and I'll go and I will, I'll go, if I go to the supermarket, I'll spend, it depends on if I'm bulking or if I'm cutting, really. I mean, it can go up towards 1,000 if you're doing, bulking, if you're doing bulking, sessions or a bulking, process. So if you're cutting, you generally need less food. But it depends, you're starting to talk about supplements, you're talking about frequency of eating, intermittent fasting, some of those things can be beneficial. And also how you react. Sometimes you might, remember I said it's a tool. So maybe sometimes you need a certain food that is a little bit more expensive. It's like crap, some foods I would splurge more on, like grass-fed beef, but I don't go eating grass-fed beef and organic this and that. And I don't go spending tons of money, but there's certain foods that will be more expensive no matter how you slice it. It's just what they charge for it. And if you can't make it yourself, then you're kind of stuck. Sam's Club or Costco, yeah, it comes back to the same idea. You can definitely save money, and it depends on what you feel and what your morality is on conventional versus organic. So if you are thinking about the mass production of it, yeah, Costco and those kind of companies, they produce a lot of volume. So how organic is it? That Kirkland Organic or they sell a 5-pound container of let's say, sustainable sardines. How quality is it just because of the volume? Do I only eat organic? No, not anymore. I can't afford it. It's too expensive in a lot of ways. I eat a lot of food, so I'm picking and choosing what I buy organic. Like sweet potatoes. I think sweet potatoes are a waste of money. It's a waste of money to buy organic. It's a waste of money to spend $3 a pound on sweet potatoes when you can spend $1 a pound. Those things aren't crushed by bacteria and bugs. Obviously, it's not sweet. What kind of bug wants a sweet potato? Not really. They're going to go crazy on blueberries and strawberries and raspberries. What about dried fruits? I missed that last part. But dried fruits, anytime you're working with heat, it depends on how these things are dehydrated and packaged. I'm super skeptical of things like those green powders. Some of you buy green powders or buying these vegetable products that are powdered or freeze-dried. Anytime it's like packaged like that or dried or you're changing the chemical composition, you're going to lose nutrients. It's really hard to keep and maintain the integrity and the value of foods when you heat them, when you add heat to the environment, because if you know your organic chemistry, if you're familiar with organic chemistry, when you add heat, you increase molecular reactions, you increase movement of molecules that are smashing into each other, and things break off. Things start reacting differently when heat's a factor. So you'll lose like hydrogen atoms, you'll lose carbons, you'll split more things. So the actual elements change. And it doesn't take much, it just takes a little bit of repositioning of a molecule or something binding to it for it to do a completely different thing. If you ever studied organic chemistry, you'll know that if there's a hydrogen in let's say place number 1, as opposed to place number 2, it could be in one spot, one little molecule that you can't even see, a hydrogen molecule. You have the same molecule. A hydrogen's here or hydrogen's here. Over here, it's the best food in the world. It's great for you. Over here, it'll kill you. Chemistry is the most amazing, freakish thing. So some of these things, it's like deadly, toxic, or you put this in every food that you have. It's like ketchup or cyanide. That's just a random example. That's not even true. But sometimes those molecules are extreme. And sometimes it's hard to make that molecule. But if you do certain things to certain molecules, you'll change the whole composition. So pasteurization, you're killing bad bacteria. That's why they pasteurize it. So it's safer and healthier. You're also degrading and denaturing proteins in the milk. Not to mention it's from another animal, which is not good for you anyway. They add tons of sugar to it. It has tons of lactose, which you don't need as you get older. That's why you get off milk. You start going to whole foods. Oh God, that's a whole nother episode, but I'm going to rant a little bit and we'll come back on that again. And then you get into denaturing. You're also killing the good bacteria. There's a reason why animals, when they're like us, babies, your mom doesn't pasteurize her breast milk. A cow doesn't pasteurize the milk and then, give the calf its raw milk because you're getting nutrients, you're getting enzymes, you're getting, healthy things. There's a reason why you have milk when you're a child, you suck your mom's breast, and then when you get older, you don't do it anymore. Well, most of us don't. This world's a weird place. Let's not go down that path. Periscope's going to start blowing up. They're like, who? Incest? There's a reason why you get older and you stop drinking milk because you're ready for more nutrients. Everyone thinks milk has tons of protein. Baby milk has tons of protein. It has very little protein. It has tons of enzymes and tons of fat. There's different elements that you need as you get older, different nutrients, different volumes. It's not it's not effective for us anymore after a certain age, which is why you stop consuming it, which is why the human body does not require it anymore, which is why you grow up and you eat whole food. There's a reason why. There's a reason why adults do not have human breast milk anymore. We don't need it. It's not enough. It's not enough. I keep seeing questions. I keep forgetting that Periscope. I wish Periscope stayed around a little longer. Busker stays around a little bit longer. But you Busker people are so entranced with my beard. And you have a little more of a tit shot on Busker. Just so you know, if you want to see more nip, you go to Busker and YouTube. Right now, you're not getting you're not getting the full frontal effect. You're getting like some underbeard, which is still quality. I mean, I know that's why you're all still here, still maintaining viewership on Periscope because of that. Any other questions before I turn off? I want to do a little more Q&A. I know we kind of went off with on the budget, but I definitely got some different topic ideas. We'll talk about milk. We'll talk about these different products. But make sure that the most important thing on a budget, the most important thing, and I'll repeat this, over and over again throughout all my stuff. British flag in the background. Yeah, Allied forces, man. Organic plants and meats contain more nutrition per ounce. I would check your sources on that. There's research that shows the opposite too. That's what I'm saying about conventional organic. There's research that shows that the nutrients are the same. As much as it'll be like, oh, that's what I'm saying. It depends on what you're testing. It depends on who's funding the test. You could show me, one research, but then there's also articles out there. Yeah, there's documentaries and stuff, but those documentaries have opinions too. Those documentaries have goals. They're trying to tell you a story about a certain thing. A lot of times they're biased. Who's funding these documentaries? What are these basic opinions? A lot of these documentaries are docudramas. Like they're telling you a story for a result. They're showing the cruelty of something. That's a goal. That's a biased opinion. They're showing you the cruelty. Yeah, everything's biased. If someone's why did they give that angle? Why did they give you a low angle of the animal getting slaughtered, not a high angle? Because they wanted you to see, or a high angle. They wanted to make the animal look small and weak. What if they got a low angle? It looks tall and powerful, like we conquered an animal. I mean, it's just the subtleties of what we see. I'm not saying animal cruelty is good. I'm not saying eating meat is good or bad or whatever. I'm just saying the angle, the editing, the music behind. It's all marketing. It's all mental manipulation to get you emotional, to, deliver a certain talking point. It's very hard to give neutral, unbiased information because they wouldn't sell anything. They wouldn't sell anything if they just told you things. It would be like, oh, there's information on this channel. Those are boring documentaries. Who here has seen Pumping Iron? Yeah? Pumping Iron, the famous, we're way off the rails on this, but I'm going to post the whole damn thing. I might just post this Q&A section separately. All right, Pumping Iron, this is what blew fitness up. The Arnold movie in 1975, I think it was. That's not a documentary. That's a docudrama. A lot of the things that they filmed in there, they filmed after the fact and put it back in to create conflicts. They created conflicts that weren't there. Lou Ferrigno, there was no way he was going to win, and everyone knew that. But they made it seem like there was a battle because they shot the film. And they realized they started watching the film as, sometimes when you're shooting a movie, you start watching parts of it. And they started watching parts of it and they're like, this is boring. There's a whole documentary about the making of Pumping Iron. It's called Raw Iron. Super interesting. Super interesting. Yeah, the part where they hit his T-shirt, when they're talking about throwing a football, and they're talking about hiding his T-shirt, they filmed that after the fact because the guy couldn't find his T-shirt and they realized, oh, let's make it look like so-and-so stole it. So they filmed that scene afterwards and made it look like it was before, just with editing. So there's always, they have to have a conflict. They realize this is just a bunch of dudes working out half naked. No one's going to watch this shit. So they had to make conflict. There had to be a reason why people were engaged. There had to be a reason. So they're telling you a story in a certain way. And guess what? It freaking worked and fitness exploded and it's still huge today. Yeah, and Arnold, he also knew, and he'll tell you himself, he said stuff that's ridiculous. Those stories he told about his car being stolen or his dad dying, that wasn't true. That wasn't true. He made that up about his car being stolen. He made that up because he knows if he was the most out there, if he was the most ridiculous and the most extreme, that he was going to get the most camera time. And some of the more shy guys didn't get on the camera a lot, like Frank Zane, he was barely in it because he's quiet and he was more reserved and he didn't market himself. And Arnold is a master marketer. So as far off topic as we can go, I think I'm going to split this Q&A off because I'm just going to do this as a separate Q&A, Daily Swole Q&A or something like that, because this is not even on topic for On a Budget. It's great information. I think it's good feedback. But the random Q&A sessions at the end, I think I'm going to start splitting them off into a whole other series. So just because a lot of times it's off topic, but it's great. It's information and it's great. It's a great mashup. It's a great on the flow thing. So I appreciate the questions. So on a budget, the number one thing that you can take from any of this conversation about what to buy and what are the best options, because if we talked a lot about conventional versus organic, but that is a talking point because that's going to determine what your budget is. If you start eating smarter and eating things that are conventional that will be okay by all the science and a lot of things that you'll read online. If you eat it conventional, you can save a lot of money. So that's still applicable. Go to the supermarket like you're going to Home Depot. You want a result, go look for the tool that you need. If you look for the tool that you need and you only buy the tools that you need for the job, you don't buy extra, you don't buy tools that you don't need in case you need this for a job, in case you have a craving later, you buy what you need for abs, you buy what you need for building muscle, you buy what you need for shredding fat, you buy what you need to jump higher, run quicker, whatever. If you want to jump higher, run quicker, what do you get? PF Flyers, Sandlot. This is all about America this weekend. This is all American references. If you're not from the United States, you're not going to know what the hell I just said. But if you are, you're laughing your ass off right now. That being said, thank you so much for joining. I will continue to stay on Periscope and Busker for a few minutes after and continue some casual Q&A. But thank you for joining me for episode 22 of the Daily Mother Swole. I hope those cracks got online because I snapped like 3 times. I am on a roll with that. I am on a roll. Eating on a budget. Super important. Thank you so much for watching. You can catch this on SoundCloud and iTunes soon after this. You can catch the replay on Periscope at Swolenormous. You can catch the replay on Busker at Swolenormous. And you can watch it on YouTube as well, on my YouTube channel at Swolenormous. Thank you so much for watching. I will be here every day, no fail, 12 noon Eastern time, right here for the Daily Mother Swole. Thanks for joining. I will see you tomorrow at 12 noon. Peace.